Hey guys, there's an old saying, when in Rome, do what the Romans do. And while I appreciate and understand the meaning behind that, I believe scripture tells us, especially in one story in particular, that that's not always what you do, especially when God's involved. But if you would, turn with me to Daniel 1, we're gonna be in verses 5 through 15. Again, that's Daniel 1, verses 5 through 15. And the king appointed for them a daily provision of the king's delicacies and of the wine which he drank, and 3 years training for them, so that at the end of that time they might serve before the king. Now from among those seasons of Judah were Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. To them the chief of the eunuchs gave names. He gave Daniel the name Belteshazzar, to Hananiah, Shadrach, to Mishael, Meshach, and to Azariah, Abednego. But Daniel purposed in his heart that he would not defile himself with the portion of the king's delicacies, nor with the wine which he drank. Therefore he requested of the chief of the eunuchs that he might not defile himself. Now God had brought Daniel into the favor and goodwill of the chief of the eunuchs. And the chief of the eunuchs said to Daniel, I fear my lord the king, who has appointed your food and drink. For why should he see your faces looking worse than the young men who are of your age? Then you would endanger my head before the king? So Daniel said to the steward, whom the chief of the eunuchs had set over Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, please take your subjects for 10 days, and let them give us vegetables to eat and water to drink. Then let our appearances be examined before you, and the appearance of the young men who eat the portion of the king's delicacies. And as you see fit, so deal with your servants. So he consecrated with them in this manner, and tested them for 10 days. And at the end of 10 days, their features appeared better and fatter and fierce than all the young men who ate the portion of the king's delicacies. The scripture doesn't really tell us what the delicacies were, but given the context used, and that Daniel says he doesn't want to defile himself with the wine and portion that the king gives him, I would venture to guess it was pork, which was forbidden in the Jewish canon, at least up until that time. But we see here Daniel and his friends. No one would have blamed them for taking that saying hard, when in Rome, do what the Romans do. I mean, they were in a new country, and this was the king giving them the portions of food. It wasn't themselves. It was the king of Babylon giving them the finest food, the finest meat, the finest wine, probably. So no one no one would have blamed them for just doing truthfully exactly what anyone else would do in this situation, which is eat. Have a feel. But we see Daniel saying in his heart that he would not defile himself. He knew the Lord had given them instructions to stay away, that they were for certain foods and wine, and he just wouldn't he just wouldn't take his convictions. Guys, we see here that in verse 15, we see here the fruit of Daniel the able. That water and vegetables that he drank, that it finished. We see here that God honored them. When you honor God and when you refuse to compromise your beliefs, as Daniel and his friends did, and again, no one probably would have blamed them if they compromised their beliefs just a little bit, just depending on where they were. Because if there was one man you did not want to get on the bad side of in Babylon, it was the king of Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar. But what Daniel did and his friend did took an extreme amount of faith. Because if this didn't work, if this didn't pan out the way they had hoped come inspection day, they could have been subject to being excommunicated. They could have been subject to prison or worse. But they had enough faith in God that, hey, we're going to honor God with this, and whatever happens, it happens. But we're not going to defile ourselves. I'm not going to tell you that not giving in to peer pressure and honoring God always works out as well as it did for Daniel and for his friends. To cite one story, I can cite the martyr Stephen, who preached the right thing, who preached in God and Jesus' name, but was stoned for his efforts. So, please do not misunderstand me as saying, okay, if I honor God and do everything that I'm expected of, that He expects of me, that it's all just gonna work out. Ultimately, in the end, it will work out, but as far as this mortal veil goes, I can't promise anything. But, guys, in a world that glorifies sin and just says that, oh, everyone's doing it, it's okay, it won't matter, everyone's doing it, just come on, just otherwise you'll be an outcast, but I want to tell you something, I'd rather be an outcast for God than the most popular man in America living in sin. I mean, because ultimately that is what it's all about. It's all about honoring God because He deserves it. He is worthy of your worship. He is worthy of your utmost praise. We see Daniel's faith would carry him farther, would be tested farther in the years to come when he was in the lion's den, when he had that edict by Darius, and he wouldn't to pray to the king for 10 days, and he wouldn't do it. Yet your faith be unshakable. If you honor God with unshakable faith, I promise you, He will honor you. Guys, I love you. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see y'all next week.